Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again. So we'll wait a few minutes here, wait till some people join us, and then we'll get going on some stocks. But there's quite a few things to talk about today. So we should have quite a busy morning. So we'll try and run through some things as quickly as we can, and then we can get to some of your guys' questions as we normally do. So give it a few minutes here, and we'll get going. So again, some of the main plays for me, not necessarily even main plays, but main things to keep an eye on are going to be ARDX, ROKU, CGC today. Today actually probably would be, it could very well be a decent day to look at large cap stocks as well. And then we also have a few earnings plays. Howdy, good morning, good morning. Oh, Patrick, happy 25th birthday, brother. That's awesome. The only thing from here on out is you're just getting older. You've done your 16th where you got your driver's license. You did your 21st birthday where you could legally drink, because we all know we did that before 21. Legally drink, and then you turn 25, and that's kind of like your quarter marker till you're going to die. So congratulations, bud. You've made it. All right, good stuff, Tony. Yeah, when you're in the Elites program, primarily you're going to be working with Dave and you're going to be working with Brandon, and then you also have the option if you choose to work with me, but that's also the same thing as Premium. So like Premium just included in Elites, so you can always work with me, but then you also can work with Brandon and Dave for options and or large cap and some other things. And then also we have just a few videos in that program on personal finance where we go into things like wealth building and then different health insurance that you can buy that's going to save you money over the course of your lifetime, and life insurance policies and things like that. So there's actually some different stuff that you'll get in that program too that's going to help you in terms of just like personal finance. Pretty cool. So anyways, we're going to get into sharing the screen here so we can get going. No further ado. Yeah, guys. So actually, I was just kind of getting to that. So till Sunday, we're going to have a 30% off sale on our entire site. I am right now typing in the coupon code in the chat, if I can spell correctly this morning. There we go. Coupon code is Labor Day 30. Just use that at checkout, and you'll be good to go. And then I'll send that out a couple more times for anybody who shows up later. All right, let's get into sharing the screen here. All right, so right now this is just a SPY. We don't really need it. I already posted a video last night on that, and we're starting to break up this morning. We'll touch on that a little bit here. DBX, did DBX have earnings yesterday? I think they did. Or was it not earnings? Something happened to it. No, never mind. I thought they had earnings, or maybe it was Box. Was it Box? It was Box I seen, but it still wasn't an earnings play. Or was it earnings? It sure, in fact, was not. Interesting. Okay, anyways, let's go where we need to go. So first, I just want to touch on ROKU. And I'll pull this up so you guys know why I'm talking about it. So with ROKU, I've already been long on it since yesterday. So in the group, in our room, and just trading in general, we got long ROKU. It's actually two trades. First one was right here on a dip, and then we kind of broke a little bit, and we took it off for a small loss just in case it was going to rip down. And then we got re-long right about here, and then held pretty much throughout the whole day. Sold some here, then held 25 shares overnight, so still in. So we got $187 unrealized profit on the trade. So anyways, I was just mentioning this because it's a very strong trending stock. As you can see, it's just kind of trending up. So this is another one just to keep an eye on today that might continue trending to the upside direction in a nice fashion, right? This is one that's just trending, and you might just want to keep an eye on it, okay? I'm going to touch on ARDX real fast because that was a penny stock from yesterday. So ARDX ended up having a really nice day. I figured this would happen. So earlier in the day, we got this short squeeze right here, and then I figured we'd probably have it go higher. I didn't trade it throughout the whole day. I ended up not trading. Ended up having to go to the hospital, not for myself, for somebody else, but so I ended up leaving the house about 11, but this spiked up, right? So we've seen ARDX spike, and when I looked, it was an easy to borrow stock on Thinkorswim as a penny stock, which isn't very common. So whenever you get a penny stock on Thinkorswim that is easy to borrow, let me explain. What do you think happens quite often when you come across a stock that's easy to short on the Thinkorswim platform and it's a penny stock? Go. Does anybody know what happens very often? Yeah, it goes up. It has a short squeeze. Exactly, right? Everyone's getting squeezed. And there's a psychology to it, because and I don't know the numbers for sure, but if you think about it, on average, not on average, but majority of traders use Thinkorswim. It's just the easiest platform to use generally. Very simple to open account, little money, if any money needed. They have paper trading, they have on-demand trading, so it attracts a lot of new traders and just traders in general to the platform. So when there's ever an easy to borrow penny stock on Thinkorswim, all these traders that are never allowed to short penny stocks that always want to look, oh wow, I can short this penny stock. First time ever. So what do you think they do? They all pile in short thinking it's just going to dump out, and then they get squeezed every single time. So anyways, by late day, ARDX was trading up at about like right here. I think I ended up getting short in this dip right here. 100 shares. I just wanted to start building a short position to see if maybe today it would go up more and I could start shorting more. But I woke up this morning, come to find that it's no longer shortable. Of course, figure. So anyways, just have 100 shares short. It made a little bit of money, nothing really at this point. There's really no money to be made for me on this trade yet. And I won't make that much with only 100 shares. But what I wanted to point out is if you go back far enough, you're going to see that it's starting to run into resistance right here at about $6. And so far it's respecting that resistance, because you can see we're starting to sell off. So do be mindful of this. It's worth keeping an eye on. We might continue to have some long moves on it, but do note that this is a heavier float stock, so you're not going to get really those big, you normally aren't going to get these really big push candles. It'll be something more like that where it kind of grinds, if anything. But I still think this is worth watching long bias if you haven't already been watching it. So keep an eye on ARDX. It's still worth watching. The only thing I could really see happening on ARDX for a good play would be, God, I really hate the way this chart keeps feeling. Let me change some things. Appearance, time axis, we'll do 100, yeah. So the only thing I could really see here is basically a hold right now. If it just kind of sits and holds, consolidates sideways, then you could go through another short squeeze. But I don't think you're going to get too much more movement to the upside unless people are getting squeezed out on their shorts. And if it becomes harder to borrow, then there's less potential of the squeeze. Okay. Yeah, so remember that when a penny stock is shortable on Thinkorswim, it will usually go long, especially on the first day that it starts moving, because everybody piles in thinking it's going to get dumped on, and then it rips them out. Okay. All right, cool. Next one on the list is CGC. So you guys know me. We've been following this one for quite some time. I've taken, I think I've taken 1 or 2 trades on it and been stopped out. But we're starting to look better. So this is pretty straightforward. If CGC can get up and over the 25.50s, 25.40s, it's a long play. Except, why does this chart just look so shitty whenever I zoom in? I don't understand it. Anyways, yeah, this is not looking how I want it to look. The chart just looks like shit. My other computer seems to do better, but anyways. What we're looking for is an inverse head and shoulders kind of formation. We may not get it, but you can see we've double bottomed with higher momentum or stronger momentum. And we're still kind of holding below 25.40s, 25.30s, but if it can get over, you're going to go into a short squeeze and squeeze out everybody that got short throughout here and started being short here. If it doesn't break, that's fine. Look for it to come down to about 25.37 for an inverse head and shoulders formation, and then a long play break over 25.50. But nonetheless, long story short, CGC is starting to have us starting to form that bullish formation that we need for a potential reversal. And over 25.50 is where you're most likely going to see a short squeeze, and you could at least expect the stock to probably get up to 27, 28, 29 area if we do have a nice good short squeeze kind of move on it. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. Again, we've been following it since it started getting close to 25, and it got lower, and now we're starting to see some buyers coming in on it. So I think it's worth watching CGC for a long play over that 25, 50, 40 area. Okay. P. Jonley, how do you know a penny stock will have a huge panic? You know a penny stock, well, no, here. You don't know a penny stock will have a huge, well, actually, you kind of do. But the more correct way to answer this question and ask the question is, how do you know a stock is going to have a panic sell-off? You know how a stock will have a panic sell-off if you know where all the buyers are going to stop out. That's what you know. Like, I know that if there's a hurricane, then a lot of people are going to buy water. Or I know if there's a hurricane, a lot of people are going to go get gas. I know if Halloween's around the corner, a bunch of people are going to buy Halloween costumes. I know that if this stock breaks through this level, then all the buyers are going to stop out. That's how it works. So if you know where the buyers or a lot of people have bought in, and where they would most likely stop out, then you know where a bunch of sell orders will kick in, which means you know where a big sell-off can occur. Vice versa. How do I know when a stock will squeeze? Well, if you were a short bias trader, where do you think you would be getting short, and then where do you think you'd be taking your trade off if you were wrong and stopping out? If you know where the short sellers are getting short or how they trade, and you know where they would most likely stop out, then you know where a bunch of buy orders will kick in, and you know a price at which the stock will squeeze higher. And that's how it's done. And that's how you know when you're going to see panic sell-offs or, big squeezes up. No, I don't really trade Forex. I've been meaning to get into it, but I just never really have. Yeah, I don't trade swing trade. I don't trade tops. Tops is a really shitty stock to trade. I just stay away from it. An option. Jaga B, an option trade idea. Here you go. Here's an option trade idea. Pick any stock in the stock market, and if you can correctly pick the direction that it's going to move on the day, you buy an option in that direction, you will make money. There's an option trade idea. You have over like 2,000 stocks to pick from today. All you got to do is pick the direction correctly on one out of those 2,000 and then buy a call or a put in that direction, and you will make money. Simple as that. It's the same thing as trading stock. Again, options are the same as stocks. If you can pick the correct direction, you will make money for the most part. No, Roku's average, well, actually, no, yeah, I don't know. Roku's average movement a day is, I think right now is about $5.50 a share. So, Nitsu Singh, and this is another common question I get, is the Iron Condor a safe options trade? No, not really. It can be, just like buying a call can be if you were long gold for the last 3 months. All it did was go up. That seems pretty safe. Every option strategy and trade is to be used in a specific environment. An Iron Condor is not going to work very well if you're buying something that's just ripping in an uptrend or just screaming in a downtrend, right? Not going to work very well, okay? Just like buying a put isn't going to work very well if the market's going up. Just like buying a straddle, right? Buying a straddle play on an earnings report isn't going to work very well if the stock doesn't have extreme volatility going into the earnings play, and then you wake up the next day and the stock really hasn't moved on earnings. You're going to get smoked on both your long and both your short. All right? So there's a different scenario play for each options trade, and you have to be able to identify that. Again, like for example, this would have been a good time to use like maybe a condor or something here on the SPY over the past couple weeks, right? So over the past couple weeks, we stayed in a high-low range from 277 to this like 293, right? I mean, right there, you know, is a perfect example of where if you played an option strategy where you were banking on the stock not breaking down below 270s, 280s, and not breaking above 290s, you would have been winning for, you know, basically 2-3 weeks there, right? That would have been an option. Whereas if you bought a call, right, here thinking the market was going to move higher, you would have just got smoked because you would have been up. If you didn't sell, you'd be back down. You'd be back up. Didn't sell. Now you'd be negative. You'd probably still be negative up here, probably still be negative here, still negative here because of time decay or theta. So again, options trades all depend on what strategy you're going with and the way the market's moving and the environment that you're in. We'll take a look at Alta. Well, Mr. Valentin Dobchev, I mean, it's possible, right? It's possible that what you're saying is true. But I just want to make sure that when you go and you point this comment out to maybe another group, I want to make sure that you're accurate in what you're saying. Are you aware that the fact that when you reach a net worth of 100 million, the oligarchs take everything above that number? So how is it that Bill Gates reached 100 million net worth and then gave 60 billion away to charity if he only had 100 million? I'm confused. How can you give away 60 billion with a net worth of only 100 million? And then why would he still have more than 100 million? Interesting. All right, so let's take a look at, let's see. Or like maybe Jeff Bezos. So what you're trying to say is the oligarchs made Jeff Bezos cheat on his wife so that they could purposely make sure that his ex-wife got some odd 60 billion? But I thought the oligarchs take the money once it's over 100 million. You know what? This is really confusing. I don't understand. All right, so let's take a look at we'll take a look at Alta because I know someone was asking about that, and that's a pretty popular stock that I'll be watching. So yesterday, Alta started with a nice push, and today, you know, Alta probably wouldn't be up. Alta would not be up like it is without the market actually pushing higher. So that is kind of a good thing that the market did move up, because now we're starting to get into like kind of like a squeezing formation. I think it's still worth watching Alta long. I think today is actually can very well be a better day than yesterday and actually turn into more of like a running day. So I think Alta is a good stock to be watching long bias today. It's pretty straightforward, you know. If you get over a pre-market high, you can have a squeeze, but no matter what, the long play is going to happen before the pre-market high. That's just a breakout over pre-market high where short sellers would most likely get squeezed, but it's probably not going to be the true long entry point. So like, no, you know, credit and credit scores. Actually, I was really happy. I think I woke up yesterday and I checked my credit score. Let's take a look what she's at. Not bad. Credit score is 723 now. Not terrible. Would still like to be at 800. But no, I mean, credit card company. I mean, yeah, credit card companies. In theory, it is a scam. I mean, it's another scam that's set up in the system. I mean, I could go on so far about how the system's broken, but again, this is a stock channel, so I won't do that. But no, credit cards in reality aren't really scams or anything like that. I mean, they are and they aren't. But what the stupidest thing about credit and credit scores and all that is, hey, for example, sir, you guys reading and watching, you need a good credit score to get a loan. Okay, cool. Well, let me get a credit card. You can't get a credit card because you don't have credit. Okay, well, why don't I just shoot myself in the head right now, you jackass? That's basically how the system works. You need good credit to do this, and then when you try to build credit, it's basically impossible to build credit because they don't make it easy for anybody without credit to get a credit card or get a loan or any sort of instrument that allows you to build credit. You have to go through a really slow, drooling process, which is usually going to be a secured credit card. You use a secured credit card for a while, and then you might be able to get a credit card through your bank, and then you might be able to get one through Visa or Capital One. And you'll get these letters in the mail all the time that, hey, you've been pre-approved, and then you send the letter back, and they're like, oh, never mind, you've been declined. It's like, F you. So it's kind of stupid. Not the smartest thing. Yes. So I don't have any comments on the Hong Kong thing with the extradition bill because I haven't fully read into that. But that is a portion as to why the market's kind of bullish right now or bullish on the day. ACB, yeah, so if you look at CGC starting to pop, so you're probably seeing ACB starting to pop. So again, the whole marijuana sector has been beaten down. As soon as the marijuana sector starts to pick up, all the marijuana stocks will start to trade good. And if you look at all the marijuana stocks, they've all been beaten down. If they've all been beaten down, there's a good chance that they're all coming into some sort of demand or some sort of support zone. If they're coming into some sort of support zone, then buyers are going to start coming back into that stocks. And if buyers start coming back into those stocks, then what's going to happen is the marijuana ETFs and the marijuana sectors are going to start picking back up, and they're going to, oh, it makes sense, the marijuana stocks are moving. Everything moves in a unison within the market relative to its sector for the most part. Do you trade on implied volatility? No. I mean, yes and no, not really. That is a good strategy for some, but yeah, implied volatility, you can calculate implied volatility on a stock before it's going to have its earnings to get a good idea of how much it's going to move. Like, for example, Salesforce on their earnings a couple weeks back, the implied volatility said they were going to move about like 8 points. They ended up moving about 10 points, or maybe it was 10 points. But anyways, you can track implied volatility to see what a stock is probably going to move on its earnings days. You can do that. I mean, you could just look at implied volatility in general, calculate it, and then get an idea as far as what people expect the market's going to move for the stock the next day, which in reality, you don't even really have to do that because you could just look at the average true range of a stock and understand that this is how much the stock is probably going to move on average. So that's how much it's probably going to move tomorrow. Or you could go trading based on the idea that you could look at a stock and the way that it's setting up and understand that it's probably going to have a short squeeze or it's going to have a big sell-off, which might put it in a situation where it's going to move more than its average true range. So, I mean, a bunch of different ways to look at things. Fundamental thoughts on overall market. We're going to go into recession, bear market. I think we're topping out. I mean, construction's booming all over the place. Home sales are slipping. Construction. So you have construction, you have new home builds, you have home sales slowing. Gold's flying, silver's flying. Economic growth around the world is all pretty much dead. Everyone's stock markets are not getting smoked, but performing very poorly. Debt levels are nuts. I mean, you could just keep going on. There's a bubble in everything. ETFs are a bubble. Stocks are bubbles. The market's a bubble. The only things that aren't bubbles right now are penny stocks. I mean, cryptocurrency could arguably be in a bubble again. Miniature. Art's in a bubble. Cars are in bubbles. Phones are in bubbles. Shoes are in bubbles. T-shirts are in bubbles. Purses are in bubbles. I mean, everything's a bubble. I mean, if you look at the price of anything, right, it's all a bubble. It's just ridiculous. So personally, myself, I think we're at a top. I think we've been at a top. It's just not falling over, right? I mean, you could walk to the top of Mount Everest, and as soon as you walk to the top, you don't have to fall right back down the other side. You can actually walk a little bit before you start to go down the backside, right? So again, if you look at the market, really, it's just been in a big topping formation. Until we break the topping formation, we're still at the top. So me personally, yeah, I think we've been in a topping formation for quite some time. I'm even a bubble. ILM for swing, still low off. Okay, there was one last thing I wanted to touch on. Was there Alta? No, maybe not. Okay, yeah, actually, it was real quick. I wanted to run you guys through a couple earnings plays. You have Coop. Was it PUDD or POCD? POCD? DC? I don't know. I can't remember. There's another one. Then you have AEO, which is, oh, no shit. Yeah, American Eagle Outfitters. We were going to watch a short initially, but probably not even, it's probably pointless to watch short now because it's at the 52-week low. And again, first attempt, well, it already broke. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Still, I might watch it long now because we're down to the 52-week low. We briefly broke the 52-week low. We're back up and over the 52-week low. This is the first attempt. We usually don't break down first attempt. It's usually second attempt or third attempt that we're going to break down. So I would assume that we're probably going to see a little bit of a bounce today on it. That's what I'll be trying to trade, I think, a little bit of a bounce. And if we look at the RSI, probably is in a divergence to the bullish side. God damn it. Hate when that happens. Let's see. Any divergence? Maybe not. Yeah, there is actually a slight one. It's so minor that you probably wouldn't even notice it. Because this is the low point here from this drop, and then from that down to there, it's arguably it's so slight that you shouldn't even call it one. So anyways, yeah, AEO, worth watching. Again, Nitu Singh, if you buy a strangle before a company's earnings, then the company, man, I'm actually not caught up to speed on a strangle. It's been a while since I've played one. So I might say it incorrectly, and I don't want to, but I don't play strangles very often. A strangle is where you're strangling one side of the price harder. Correct me if someone might know this in the chat, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I played a strangle, but a strangle is where you're favoring one direction of the stock more than the other. So is that a strangle or a wrangle? Yeah, you're out of the money on both sides, but you should be playing one side stronger than the other. Yeah, I can't remember for sure, but look it up. I think a strangle, it might be a wrangle that I'm thinking about. But a strangle is, yeah, I might be saying it wrong, but look it up. But I always thought a strangle was where you're favoring one direction more than the other, which basically means you'd be favoring that a stock is going to go up more than it would be to potentially go down. So you'd be kind of heavier set on the long side than you would be the short side. But again, I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I looked at a wrangle or a strangle. Anyways, it's still a volatility play. Long story short, when it comes to I think when it comes to strangle, wrangle, or straddle, you need to have extreme volatility or else you're not going to make money on the play pretty much. So anyways, with that being said, guys, 9:02, got to get back to the private group. Again, take a look in the chat here. I'm going to send out a coupon code. This is for, of course, our whole entire site. So again, you can use this coupon code until Sunday and receive 30% off the entire site at boilerroomtrading.com. So again, Labor Day 30 at checkout, 30% off everything on the entire site. If you would like to, you don't have to. I'll be here every single day. With that being said, guys, everybody take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next video, as always. We have stuff for like $30, $100, $149. It's basically that 30, 100, 149, and then there's 30% off all of it or whatever one you would like or choose or pretty much go with. All right, guys, take care and everybody have a great day. All right.